Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another modern video. Today we're going to be playing with Big Pen from my Discord's challenge of trying to build the Flame of Keld deck list. So this is a saga. You discard your hand on stage 1. Oops. You draw 2 cards on stage 2. And on stage 3, if a red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player this turn, it deals that much damage plus 2 to that permanent or player instead. So if you have something that is dealing a lightning bolt worth of damage, it now does a lava axe worth of damage. And I think that if we're going to try this out, the best way to do this is probably in the 8-whack shell. So if you're not familiar with this strategy, we are going to use, hold on, I have to scroll through my 31 drops here to find Goblin Bushwhacker. This has kicker, and if you kick it, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. And similarly, Reckless Bushwhacker has Surge, which you can cast it for its Surge cost if you played another spell this turn. If you play its Surge cost, creatures you control get +1/+0 and haste until end of turn. And let's try to get all these wonderful little fellows on the screen here. Scoop up 8 of you, is that enough? That's not actually enough. Oh my gosh, there's so many 1-drops. All right, Mog Fanatic, you have been promoted to 3-drop. Okay, so essentially what we are going to do is we are going to try to play as many playable red 1-drops as we can, preferably ones that are goblins. And we are going to use these things with Flame of Keld, so they deal 2 more damage, Reckless Bushwhacker or Goblin Bushwhacker, so they do 1 more damage, or a Goblin Grenade to just chuck the Goblin at them for 5 damage. So this is essentially our game plan. We are going to look to go under most of our opponents. If you do a search for Flame of Keld on MTG Goldfish, there's nothing. I found one deck list, which I used as my basis for this. The original version had a bunch of fetch lands and Akuum Hellhound, but someone in my Discord was like, hey, is 16 lands enough for you to consistently enable that to where it's going to be better than something else? And I kind of agreed with them. I didn't break down the math or anything, but I think at that point I added Mog Fanatic to the deck. It's a goblin that works with Goblin Grenade, and it's also a red 1-drop. That was fine with me. As far as the sideboard for the deck, I have a handful of cards here that represent a sideboard. I don't really know what I need to be fighting with this deck, because normally I dedicate my sideboard slots to beating combo, but my plan versus combo with this deck is just kill them on turn 3. So I don't know that I actually want to be sideboarding a bunch of cards here. So I have a handful of removal spells for the matchups where I feel like I need to remove something, and I have some Bone Crusher Giants and Goblin Rabblemasters for the games that I think are going to drag on. Goblin Rabblemaster is just a continuous source of cards, and it plays very well with all the goblins that are in the deck already. We'll just kind of see how this goes. I'm excited for this. I think this deck is powerful enough that I'm just not going to get stomped on in trying to record some videos, which often happens with these brews. One thing that I'll say ahead of time is I'm going to guess that 4 Flame of Kelds is too many. The original deck that I based this off of ran 2 and ran Devastating Summons. But I want to draw this card, and I want to see how good this card is in practice. And so I'm going to run what I think is probably too many copies of it. And I think that's good advice for if you are testing something. You want to say, hey, is this card good? Play more copies than you normally would. Draw it, see how it feels, gather your data, and then trim to a more appropriate number. All right, anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, throw me a like. Or throw me a like right now. That's even better. That's one of the easiest ways to support my content for free. If you want to support me financially or get one of your decks on the channel, there's all sorts of ways to do that, and those are available in the video description. Let's battle. All right, I have a bunch of red creatures and 2 lands. Let's fucking go. I also have a Flame of Keld, so we can see how that plays out. Okay. Dragon Rage Channeler. That's fine. They always do this. So the question is, which one of these 1-drops am I playing? Let's be aggressive. Let's just get in there with the Goblin Guide. Mishra's Bauble on top. That's fine. It's possible I'm supposed to play Foundry Street Denizen this turn, so Goblin Guide and it can attack next turn, and I kind of end up in a similar place. But, if my opponent plays blockers, things can get weird. I'm also relatively likely to just draw red creatures that I want to be playing. I don't know. Yeah, I'll take my 1 there. That's fine. All right, you take your card. All right, third land drop. That's totally fine. I don't have anything with haste I'm going to play. I'm probably just going to play Bushwhacker and Foundry Street Denizen this turn. I think. It's a little weird, though, because, like, Surge is a thing. Let's get in for my 2, and we'll go from there. Another Mishra's Bauble. All right, you're at 13. There's my Foundry Street Denizen. There's my Goblin Bushwhacker. And we'll call it a turn there. The next turn I can... Sure, that's fine. I'm really surprised my opponent took 2. Like, it seems like they would want to protect their life total more or less, no matter what here. This thing always attacking is very good for me, just by the way. So with 1 creature gone, the Goblin Grenade is a little less attractive. Alright, I'll take my 3. I face down a fucking Murktide already. This is a fun and balanced card in Modern as well. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, this turn's kind of awkward, because, like, I'm incentivized to empty out my hand for Flame of Keld. I guess I will do so. It's just a little awkward here. This Murktide is super annoying for me. Alright, there's 5 to your face. I am going to Surge this purely to get it into play. Alright. So I can get 2 damage in this turn and put my opponent to 6. I don't think that's better than just chilling and trying to find another Bushwhacker effect. Alright. Murktide is coming in. That's fine. I'll take 5. There's worlds where I can be dead next turn. We're going to hope those don't happen. I'm going to go land drop. Legion Loyalist. What does this get when it attacks? Creatures you control gain first strike, and trample, and can't be blocked by tokens. Fantastic. Alright, cool. Yield to that. My opponent has a removal spell. They're supposed to fire it off on Legion Loyalist here. I don't get this trigger. I have an Unholy Heat. This could send something into the graveyard that makes these larger. Yeah, that's annoying for me. Opponent only has 8 damage on the back end. Probably don't attack, and I probably try to kill them next turn. Creatures are just potentially worth more damage next turn. I am going to be dead to a lightning bolt. Let's see if we're in that timeline. Okay, we're dead. They're attacking with both. So they had double Unholy Heat plus lightning bolt. That is unfortunate for me. How would my turn have been? I would have drawn 1 card per turn, plus 2 other cards off of that. Yeah, that would have been pretty good. So I would have attacked. Assuming these 2 get blocked, I would have gotten in for 3, 4, 5 damage. Yeah, I don't know that would have been enough anyway. Okay. What do I want here? Some number of removal spells for my opponent's creatures are probably okay. I'm not going to beat Murktide Regent most of the time unless I go wide of it. I think I like Dismember as a 1-mana removal spell. I'm not sure if I like Bone Crusher Giant. It's cool against Unholy Heats and such, but I'm really looking to go wide, not necessarily trade 1 for 1. I also could go down Goblin Grenades because they can be bad against counterspells, but I think I'm just gonna trim some number of... Maybe I need to trim all the Flame of Kelds here. Murktide is such a fast clock that I just don't have time for this to tick up 2 times. Yeah, maybe I need to do that and just add in a Bone Crusher, a Braid, or Goblin Rabblemaster to fill those slots. I will do my best not to board out the cool card every round, I swear, but Murktide Regent as a 5/5 plus just is not going to leave me in a good space. Let's try these. I think the 3 damage is relevant over Bone Crusher Giant because Dragon Rage Channeler specifically turns into something with 3 toughness. This is a 1-lander that is full of gas. Is that fine? Probably fine. Alright. Let's get in there. Just absolutely get into the red zone. Dragon Rage Channeler on top. Could just junk that turn 1 with Fanatical Firebrand and just continue to get in with a Goblin Guide. That's reasonable. Okay, so this probably means my Goblin Guide is dead to a Lightning Bolt or Unholy Heat or equivalent. Oh, nice. Let's play some critters. You may kill my goblin guide, but I will still have friends. And something, 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 the power of friendship. Something, something, something. Alright, we're first strikey, we're tramply, you've got a Murktide. Damn it. Yeah, there's an Unholy Heat for Goblin Guide. That's fine. I'm not gonna need to do too much more damage, my opponent, to, like, be in lethal range. A little awkward. But I'll do this. Burning Tree Emissary plays really well with the Surge cards. Okay. I will send in all my creatures. They're first strikey and tramply, and I imagine one more of these eats a removal spell of some kind here, because my opponent didn't just play out Dragon Rage Channeler. Yeah, that's fine. I can't sacrifice you, right? Your tap sacrifice? Yeah, your tap sacrifice. Alright, opponent's at 11. I have 4 power on board. They are unfortunately going to get a Murktide Regent this turn. Is some shit. It's a Murktide Regent that I can Goblin Grenade to death. So, like, there's that. I guess that's just what's happening. Well, Goblin Grenade, sacrifice one of these, blow up a Murktide, play a new Legion Loyalist, crash in for 4, put my opponent to 6. I really wanted that Goblin Grenade to go to face. Maybe there's worlds where I could have done that, but taking that Murktide out of play is probably worth a lot of damage. Okay, so these are all going to have first strike, assuming I can get in there for the attack, which means I don't actually have to fire off Lightning Bolt on this thing. Alright. So when that fetch happens, my opponent is going to have 4 cards in graveyard. Which means that is a 3/3, so I now have to Lightning Bolt this. So I've sent 8 points of damage at creatures instead of at my opponent's face where I want them to be. I'm very unhappy about that. I'm ahead on board. Opponent has 3 cards though. Like, we're reaching the point of the game where cards like Expressive Iteration can just start doing dumb shit. So, like, I don't feel good. My opponent can just, like, play another Murktide Regent or something. Alright, it is a Ragavan. Sure. And another Murktide. Fantastic. That's not what I want. So I don't have a reasonable attack this turn without a 3rd creature. I'm gonna sandbag my land. Now I'm just kind of in the shit position. I was like, I can't really let this Ragavan hit me. Jesus, both? Wow. I just have too many creatures my opponent can hit that will put me further behind. Like, I have to make this trade, unfortunately. I can't play the Surge cost. I can just cast this thing as a 2/1 haster, which is probably what I am doing. Am I getting counterspelled? I'm getting Dress Downed. Sure. So that means I lose my haste. Still attack with a 1/1. Okay, that worked. I'm unsure if I am favored at this stage. I don't feel good. Like, my opponent was confidently... Yeah, Jesus. My opponent is still confidently attacking. Okay, there's a Ragavan post-combat. That doesn't do me any good this turn. This is all just very awkward for me. I hate these trades that I'm making right now. But, like, Murktide Regent is a bullshit magic card, right? So, like, if I don't make these attacks and I just sit back and let this Murktide Regent hit me, I'm in awful shape. I will just play this out. Archmage's Charm, gain control of my creature. Okay. That's annoying. I also feel like my opponent probably had better lines that turn. Like, they could have kept their Ragavan, right? Fire Bluff Canal, sure. Into EE on 2, sure. That's not what I'm looking for, unfortunately. Opponent's kind of in this situation where they have to play scared, right? Like, so they didn't attack with the Murktide because they're trying to create more creatures so that they don't just die to a random haste idiot. Okay, now they're gonna attack. That puts me to 8. Okay, that's the 3rd of my lands now. I will go ahead and send in with the attack and try to force this EE activation. My opponent is just going with a chump block. That's fine with me. Not sure if that's better than popping EE. I'm just going to die to Murktide Regent next turn if I don't draw a relevant card. Alright, is Murktide being held back? No, I'm probably dead then. Like, I go to 4 from this attack. Opponent has this creature covered already. I have to have a relevant top deck. Jace. Okay. And they get to Fate Seal me and make sure that whatever I have on top doesn't kill me. Cool. Okay, so they do have to have something here. This does cost 3 mana, so they need like a counterspell or a lightning bolt or something, or I kill them. They just killed themselves. They absolutely just fucking killed themselves. They take away my haste, and then I just attack them for 1 or for 2. Attack you. Cool. All right. That didn't feel good, but scoreboard. So now I know about Jace. I know about Dress Downs. None of my shit really kills Arctide Regent. I can see wanting Bone Crusher Giant to send damage at face over a Braid here, just after seeing how close I got before my opponent stabilized. If my opponent's going to go slower, I wonder if I should bring in Goblin Rabblemaster, just as something that creates a body that can get in the red zone every turn. I don't think I'm going to do that on the draw, though. I don't think it would be unreasonable to, though. This has no lands. This has to be a mulligan. This is going to be a keep. I think the Burning Tree Emissary is probably the most awkward card here, because like this isn't going to make red, and I definitely want red. It's also the only card in my hand that I can't actually physically cast right now. My opponent is going to 5. I like that. What do you have for me? Dragon Rage Channeler, sure. Honestly, I think I don't want to let my opponent surveil at all. I think I'm just going to Mog Fanatic that away. It's possible using Dismember is better since I have this like Goblin Guide in hand, but there's some worlds where a Dismember can take another idiot out of the way. I'll Goblin Guide. I'll just play my most aggressive card and we'll see what happens. I'm hoping my opponent kept that like a weak hand after. God damn it, fucking Ragavan. Okay, I eat an Unholy Heat and my opponent gets to dash Ragavan this turn. That's some shit. And like my opponent is just so likely to hit something castable here. That's really rough. Yep. So they can play that, get a body, and also use mana for something else if they have something else. They do not. My turn kind of shit in that if I hold up Dismember for Ragavan, like it's very clear that that's happening. I'm gonna play a Legion Loyalist. That can still, in theory, trade with the Ragavan, and it builds my board. I do not miss playing against Ragavan. Like my opponent was in a like awful situation, and then they grabbed that Ragavan, got 2 damage, drew a card, made an extra mana, which actually made them 2 more mana. I'll absolutely take that trade. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes. I'm very happy to have made that trade. Okay. We'll play out some Foundry Street Denizens. I just need more mana at this point. Like, my cards are worth a decent amount of damage. I just have to kill my opponent. Yeah, I will happily take that damage. Okay. Well, we're going to play these until they work. Yield to that. Get in my 2. I need the second land, and I wouldn't hate the third land. I am trying not to dismember this card. Like, my opponent's other threats are so much more valuable than a just 2/2 with some flavor text. I might not be able to hold back my dismember for much longer. Because like at some point the 4 life that I'm going to lose in playing this becomes relevant. Archmage's Charm also is like a huge issue right now, fortunately. Seems like it is Murktide time, which is a 4/4. Going to like basically lose this game on the spot to a Dispel. See if my opponent has something like that. They don't, but like this 2/2 that my opponent got for free off their Ragavan just like nearly has me dead already. Because I haven't drawn my second land. 5 mana. Jesus. All right. That's fine. I'm at 6, and I'm dead to Fury next turn. I guess that's not technically true, right? Like, I can block and fling. But at this point, well, I guess I can play it out for another turn. Like, I guess there's worlds where I can draw a lightning bolt effect and be okay. But I lost this game to a Ragavan trigger. Okay. Alright, GG's. Alright, I'll be keeping my round 2 opening hand here. This is pretty good. So I get to just play a Goblin Guide on turn 1 into Burning Tree Emissary. Oh, wait, Goblin Bushwhacker actually requires red. So it'll be Burning Tree Emissary into Goblin, or into Fanatical Firebrand. And I'll Goblin Bushwhacker the following turn. We're playing against Tron. I imagine that I will, like, absolutely just bowl over my opponent here. Yeah. There's you. Get my mana. Play a Firebrand. Can't do anything with that green mana. I totally don't mind this Flame of Keld, by the way, here. Like, this is going to be a pretty reasonable way to refuel. Like, because after I play this Goblin Bushwhacker, I'm going to be running on empty. But, like, I'll be running on empty with a lot of power in play. Holy burn damage, Batman. I will kick you. Yeah, Condescend is fine. Like, I still just get 5 damage out of this turn, and I have 6 damage in hand. Okay. If the rest of the league goes more like this, I'm good with it. But we just, like, straight up played against a Legacy deck last round. Well, really a deck you can't even play in Legacy. Alright, opponent's at 10. They are getting a power plant here, and then, like, they're going to have map for power as well. Alright, that's real, right? Like, that's absolutely real. Let's send in the troops. I'm gonna get in 5 damage here. Because my opponent is probably going to repeal one of my creatures. A blast zone. Ooh. This is gonna be repeal on the Burning Tree Emissary, which is fine. Alright, opponent goes to 5. I am going to have end of turn Lightning Bolt into, like, untap Lightning Bolt, and I'll be good. An opponent can't play Blast Zone and also get Tron assembled. EE on 1. Absolutely. Okay. So I just have lethal here without even getting the attack step involved. Just misplay from my opponent here. They should not have let me untap with this because I can just deal the damage directly to their face here. I'm just going to fire the Lightning Bolt off at their face. Alright, there's the concession. Opponent got Tron online very quickly. My Goblin Guides helped with that a little bit. I imagine this is nothing or close to nothing as far as sideboarding goes. Goblin Rebelmaster is maybe okay, just as, like, something that helps after an EE or Blast Zone sort of card happens to sweep my board. I think I like Flame of Keld here. Like, the worlds where I have trouble are worlds where, like, an EE happens and I need to rebuild, and, like, cards like Flame of Keld and, like, Bone Crusher Giant that, like, I can kind of leave hanging out in exile kind of help with that. But I am just mostly looking to do the thing that I just did. No sideboard. I like this hand. So Burning Tree Emissary is very good with this Surge card. So I'll go turn 1 Mog Fanatic, turn 2 Burning Tree, Bushwhacker, Kraken. I think my opponent's also incentivized to mulligan pretty heavily. They need a hand that can get Tron going quickly, or I will threaten to just run them over. If they naturally have 2 of the pieces and they can get the 3rd with this map, and they just, like, naturally assemble turn 3 Tron, that's pretty... Oh my god. Ahem. Well, bad news, friend. So I'll cast that with Surge. You dismembering me? Hell, I mean, I still got 4 damage out of that creature. That's fine. Like, I don't get as much theoretical damage out of my Goblin Bushwhacker, but, like, I still hit my opponent for 4. They're at 12, and they don't have a second land. Okay, that's fine. Another one. That'll be real good next turn. So I will go ahead and just crash in for 3. Puts my opponent to 9. There we go. We'll now play double Mog Fanatic here. Really, is that true? No, that's fine. Yeah, I'll play double Mog Fanatic. Because next turn, if I draw a land, I can just Lightning Bolt into Bushwhacker, and that's totally fine. The opponent's effectively at 6 on board if this resolves, and then Lightning Bolt effectively puts them to 3. I don't need much more here. Aether Gust. Owner puts it on top or bottom of its owner's library. Sure. Would I like to guarantee draw a Mog Fanatic next turn? Medium. I think I'm going to bottom it. Because drawing a land for Surge is really good. Okay, there is another Tron land, so my opponent can assemble Tron next turn. Legion Loyalist is haste damage. I'm good with that. Yeah. Now I will go ahead and go to combat. Send in the troops. Build to that trigger. See if one of my things gets, like, repealed here. One of them does. So this is 4 damage. So my opponent's at 5. My opponent's at 3. My opponent's at 2. My opponent's at 1. My opponent's dead. Hey, let's keep doing that, folks. Let's keep doing that. All right, have kind of a weird hand here. So I have 2 lands. I have 4 spells. If I draw another creature, I really like this hand. I am on the draw. I think I will just keep this. But, like, these 2 cards are incentivizing me to have more creatures. All right, Stomping Grounds, sure. Crashing Footfalls, absolutely. So let's play a little Goblin Friend. And we're on a very real clock in terms of when the red zone is going to become not super accessible. The Jeskai one, that's Jeskai one. I didn't really want that land. All right. This is not a super impressive turn. Put my opponent to 16. Do I want to Lightning Bolt my opponent? If so, how many times? I think I'll just sandbag these. Because, like, Lightning Bolt Surge next turn is way better for me than just playing this out normally. Yeah. So the red zone is now inaccessible, unfortunately. So I have to do almost everything for the rest of the game with direct damage. And I don't think I am going to kill all of my opponent's creatures. I don't even think I'm going to mess with it. Like, I'll do this. We'll cast this with Surge. Bigger. Yeah. So this is 4 power. I would trade this for a Rhino. Essentially, my plan is draw another Goblin Grenade. Oh, right, I guess they can trade for that. Yeah, that's whatever, that's fine. I'm going to lose to the second set of things coming in anyway. Like, my plan versus combo is kill them before they can do their thing, and my opponent went off on turn 3, as they will almost always do with this deck. I had drawn another creature for turn 2. Things would have been a little better. This is not great for me. All right, let's just immediately cycle this. Sure, I'm just going to hold that. I don't want to blow up these creatures until I have to. But, like, this second set of rhinos comes down this turn, and then life's bad. Oh, are we just getting... Okay, cool. Sorry, got scared for a second there that I was just about to eat, like, end of turn rhinos as well. Which would have been some shit. So I will eat 8 damage here unless I double trade these creatures. I don't think I can win if I double trade these creatures. I just have to draw a Goblin Guide. I'll leave my opponent at 2. Yuck. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and concede here and not just show Goblin Guide to put my opponent at 2. We don't have Chalice of the Voids. Flame of Keld seems too slow for a combo matchup here. I am going to replace these with more direct damage. And I don't think I want to try to dismember rhinos to get in and kill my opponent. I think they need to die before the rhinos happen. This goes to my opponent's dome. I'm not sure what to do with the last slot. Let's play a 1 Rabble Master. I think it's too slow, but I'd rather have it than Flame of Keld, I think. Without multiple surge creatures on 1 land doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. Yu-Gi-Oh? Art of the cards. Top card is the surge guy. I guess I can see myself winning with this hand if the top card is that surge card. Otherwise, I think I have already lost. But I don't think I want to start going to 5 because, like, I definitely need 2 or 3 lands to have a good functional opening hand that is going to beat my opponent most of the time. All right, sure. That's not the surge card, but it's a pretty okay draw. All right, Storm is 1. Storm is 2. Get my colors. Storm is 3. And I get 3 damage in here. Yield to that. Fury on top. Okay. That's fine, right? Just all well and good. I lose double Burning Tree Emissary to that, presumably. Yep. Fury. Pitching a Fury. And it is double Burning Tree Emissary. That's down. Life's bad. Okay, there's an Otawara. Alright, and I am officially out of gas. I have not managed to kill my opponent before they get to do the thing. So I assume my opponent makes 2 rhinos this turn, and then I'm effectively dead. Sure, that's fine. That's not fine. Okay, GG. I'm not going to beat that. I can pretend, but I basically have to rip double Goblin Grenade off the top, or I'm not just beating my opponent here. Yep. I'm not gonna block. Like, the worlds where I win involve me getting more damage in. And if my opponent can make more rhinos here, like, I just can never. Yeah, okay. Alright. GG's. Not happening. Absolutely not happening. Hey folks, Phil here. I've taken some of my precious time to stop playing Elden Ring to record some sweet magic videos for you. So if you would do something to support me, like throwing me a like or a comment or doing a donation deck list, I would love that. Because, this bosses, they're not going to kill themselves. I've got work to do. I'm like 100 hours deep. I'm not even close to done yet. All right, back to the show. All right, this looks to be a pretty good opening hand. I think I'm going to play Foundry Street Denizen on turn 1 over Goblin Guide, since I can double 1-drop creature next turn. Okay. What are we looking at? Regular Forest. Utopia Sprawl, sure. Potentially some sort of Enchantress deck, potentially some sort of Blood Moon deck. Bushwhacker's cool. So I will play a Goblin Guide here. Build to this. I'll play a Mog Fanatic here. Get this other trigger going. Get in for a Lava Axe worth of damage. Fury. It is a Fury, which is a not a 3 for 1, a 3 for 2. That's super fucking unfortunate. All right, here's Fury pitching Blood Moon. All right, I will go ahead and ping 1 at my opponent here, but obviously that was good. A new Goblin Guide. I think I just kick Goblin Bushwhacker this turn, and then try to draw a land to play Goblin Guide plus Reckless Bushwhacker next turn. Alright. Honest work. Alright. Here comes my 2 damage. I'm not getting it. That's a Bone Crusher Giant. So, brews don't tend to beat Modern Horizon 2 cards. Just, in terms of rankings, it's rough. Bloodbraid Elf, sure. Into Blood Moon, that's fine. Like, that may be a net positive for me, because I'm not going to take damage off this anymore. It's close. I'm at 15. I'd like to draw land. I did not succeed. Do I need to Lightning Bolt this creature? I don't really want to. I kick this again and try to play towards the same thing that I was playing towards last turn. What's my opponent at 9? Need to deal 6 more points of damage, not counting this Lightning Bolt. The Lightning Bolt might have to go at a Bone Crusher Giant or something, though, so we'll see where that ends up. The opponent doesn't have that many cards, but I want my opponent dead by the time they're at 4 mana, so there's that. Okay, land, no big deal. Seasoned Pyromancer, probably shut... Okay, it didn't, fully just invalidate the red zone there, which is nice. This. Oh, great. Yeah, every time I just get paired against a deck that has, cards that are, very clearly banned in Legacy. It is just, very feel bad. Alright. What am I doing with my life? I always play this. I play Goblin Guide. I kick this. I attack in. I trade one of these creatures. This is a beating. I'm gonna try to limp over the finish line. But I think this is lost. Well, he has to go at Ren and 6, unfortunately. But otherwise, like Ren and 6 enters a revealed card zone. Cool. Yeah. Now my opponent doesn't even have to fucking trade. They just play it minus. Have the better board. I'm low on gas. Oh god, they just have a fucking Fury again. Okay. It's Bone Crusher Giant and Tarmogoyf. Okay. At this point I basically need to draw a Goblin Grenade or I am dead. I'll take 5 going to 7, and then my opponent has infinity power for next turn. Land. Actually, Goblin Grenade doesn't even do it. That's just 8 damage. Alright. Concede. Alright. I imagine I have almost nothing for this matchup. Never gonna like beat Fury. I like Flame of Keld for if I get Furied. I don't hate Bone Crusher Giant to get opposing creatures out of the way. Maybe I'll trim a Flame of Keld and like one, maybe like Bog Fanatic or something. All that good. I don't know like how many Dismember sorts of cards I want to play, because like Tarmogoyf is a problem, but every creature that I cut makes it more likely that I can just Goldfish my opponent before they get established, so I don't know. Like at the point where I'm using a whole bunch of removal spells to get things through, that might just be bad for me. Bone Crusher can go to face as well. I think that kind of gives it the tiebreaker. Although Dismember can also just kill birds. So there's that. Okay. Absolute keep. I have multiple Goblin Guides. I have 4 different haste creatures in hand. I will still just fucking lose to a Fury, though. I think this is one of those hope they don't have it situations. Goblin Guide. Wooded Foothills. That's fine. Alright, there it is. Okay, what are you gonna get? Basic into a ramp card of some kind. Confirmed. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Gives everyone first strike. My opponent can take a look at some lands. Sure, that's fine. Noble Hierarch as their draw. Fury obviously still real fucking good. But if I can get this Bushwhack in without getting Furied or something else that just like absolutely wrecks me, I think I'm okay. What are you gonna do with your 3 mana? A Tarmogoyf, that's fine. Alright, Hierarch not getting in the red zone. Goblin Grenade. Goblin Grenade is cool. So we're gonna kick this. And this ability, coupled with Legion Loyalist's first strike, looks pretty damn good here. Opponent can still have a Lightning Bolt. That's a no. So my creatures have first strike. Opponent gets to draw 2 cards. That's fine. They're nearly dead. And as it stands now, their Tarmogoyf doesn't actually trade for one of my creatures. That's fine. That's fine. Still taking 4. I have a Goblin Grenade in hand. Okay. They do have the Lightning Bolt. That's fine. Okay. I only need to get 1 more point of damage in before Goblin Grenade is lethal. So I'm feeling pretty good here. That's fine. Was that a stomp? That was a stomp. Double Reckless Bushwhacker is not great here. Do I play this for like surge-based reasons? Would I be okay with a Lightning Bolt on a Noble Hierarch? I can play a Legion Loyalist attack. If my opponent like doesn't block with Hierarch, I just have them dead to direct damage. I think I'm okay with taking that risk. Let's send in there, see what my opponent does. Like, I don't know if Goblin Grenade is on my opponent's radar or not. Is. Okay. That's fine. We'll call it a turn there. These become a little awkward, but again, like with a Goblin Guide here, I am right in range of killing my opponent. Bloodbraid, not great for me. Seasoned Pyromancer, also not great for me. Just filtering lands. Thing can get tokens. How much are you pressing? 2 creatures deep, that's fine. I will go to 14. This is an awkward set of cards here. I think I'm just going to yeet this at my opponent now, and then play Flame of Keld and try to find a Lightning Bolt, assuming these get stuck in my hand. It's definitely awkward, because like my opponent has a decent amount of power, and like the time this is going to take to go off is super awkward for me, as is the discard too. There's the Bone Crusher Giant. Take 9 this turn. Oh, actually, the Flame of Keld plan doesn't work. Shouldn't have attacked, right? Because that plan just leaves me dead. Yeah, that doesn't do it. If I play this, use this as a blocker. Yeah, I'm dead. GG's. Where are we at now? 1 and 3. All right, round 5. We have 2 lands. We have a lot of damage built up in hand here. I'll keep this, and hopefully we don't get paired against Modern Horizons 2 cards. Become Ghost, Esper Sentinel. I mean, do you count? I don't know that you count. Sorry, Esper Sentinel. Send him. Like, I can kill that. I might kill that at some point. I don't need to kill that now. Aether Spellbomb, absolutely. I don't actually know what we're playing against here. I have not played against whatever this is. It feels like Urza Saga. Portable Hole, that's fine. I don't want Smash to Smithereens. You keep a 1-lander? Oh yeah, you're gonna have a bad time. Yeah, like, I don't even need to kill this. So let's go like, yeah. Crash in for 1, and then we can work towards just Bushwhacker shenanigans. Another Esper Sentinel, absolutely. Flame of Keld. Yeah, so I probably just like go, right? Just go like Cast, Surge, get that in. Unfortunately, my creatures don't get a toughness boost, because I do have some things with greater amounts of innate power. I probably should go ahead and just sacrifice and junk these things ahead of time. Goodbye. So I'll crash in for 4 damage. The board's empty. I have Flame of Keld to refuel. I still just get 3 damage as is showing next turn. I can answer something like a Stoneforge that's played with a Lightning Bolt. Life's okay. The Reality Chip. Okay. I'm just gonna kill that thing. I don't want a Cauldra to accidentally like sneak in play or something. Let's send in some creatures. Opponent takes 4. I'm hoping to just draw a 1-drop so I can play 1-drop into Flame of Keld. Absolutely. Reality Chip. Alright. Land is fine. 0-4. My stuff's gonna have first strike. Totally fine. Send them. Everything's first strikey. Okay, opponent is going... Oh, no, they're not gonna take a jump block. Alright, so opponent is gonna take 2 here. They're at 7. Flame of Keld is going to be a draw 2. I will just pay to prevent that. So in 3 Esper Sentinels, my opponent managed to tax me 1 mana, which I paid. Opponent can reconfigure here and equip 2 Esper Sentinel, but I have a feeling they just die if they do that. Could be wrong. Fairy Time Raveler, absolutely. Okay, they're going to bounce Flame of Keld. No big deal. A new Legion Loyalist is great. So let's go ahead and just play that. Opponent should be dead before Teferi becomes relevant again. We'll send all of these at my opponent directly. Okay. That's fine. Take 3, go to 4. And then we'll redeploy the flame. Paying the tax. Oh, you have a counterspell this time. Sure. That'll do. I'm at 12, somehow. Done a lot of damage to myself, I guess. Or the Esper Sentinels poked me for more than I thought. Ingenious Smith is fine. Finding Thopter Foundry. That's horrifying, though. I'd like to finish my opponent off before that thing gets online. I'm not really meant to beat life gain. Oh, a Shadow Spear. Yikes. Okay. Don't really need much here. Let's try to find something better than this. 2 of them, that's better, right? That's how that works? The attack's still probably fine, right? Like, I lose 1 Legion Loyalist and get in some amount of damage or kill Esper Sentinel. Yeah, I think I'm good with it. It kind of sucks that my opponent has 2 different sources of life gain coming up. I have a lot of things to worry about, but I am hoping my go wide plan is fine here. Opponent puts themselves dead to Lightning Bolt if they don't take another block here. Yeah. Opponent does go to 2. I'll play up my critters. There is, like, Thopter Foundry coming up. So, like, that's a thing that can happen. We'll see what my opponent can do. My opponent can, like, gain 3 life with Shadow Spear as of right now. Maybe 4. Urza. That construct gaining lifelink's real bad for me. But my opponents put themselves in a situation where they're just dead to a top-decked burn spell. Okay. Oh, right. They can do the equip with Shadow Spear. Sure. That's respectable. Yeah, so they just go in right now, gain 4. Okay. I forgot about the extra mana produced off of Urza. So now they just move the Shadow Spear over here. Gives trample, right? Yuck. Opponent is now at also exactly 6. So I play Mog Fanatic. These things each go to 2. My opponent blocks my 3 largest creatures. I'm getting 2 damage in. That's not enough. Go ahead and draw a card, see if that changes anything. It does not immediately. I think my opponent wins now. I have some cute lines where I like junk one of my own creatures after this thing blocks it, but that's not actually lethal. Assuming my opponent does intelligent blocks. Yeah, so I think I... Do I win if my opponent attacks with this? Never, right? I guess I just go for it this turn. And hope they mess up. Yeah, so I'll send everything at them. My stuff gets first strike. If my opponent, for some reason, only blocks with this, I can still win. Like, they block this, I ping this creature, and get there. I get in 2, 3, 4, 5 damage, and my opponent stays alive. I don't super understand not blocking with this, but that's fine. I will concede here. I'm not going to beat that token connecting, I don't think, in any world. Let's get a Braid and Smash to Smithereens in here. Skullcrack is not crazy, but I don't think it's particularly good. Flame of Keld is rough against Teferi, in particular. I have to cut that? Probably. I'm going to make it through this entire league without getting this thing to level 3, despite having played a decent number of them. Unfortunate. Yeah. But I think I think I'm also probably supposed to play these to just get Esper Sentinels and such out of the way. What are my other 2 cuts? Not Mog Fanatic this time. Just Foundry Street? Might just be Foundry Street. Alright, let's try this. Hand is a little awkward, but reasonable enough that I will just keep this. Let's play a haste creature and just start getting in. If my opponent just plays a 1-drop creature, I will play Burning Tree into stomping it for my turn. Alright, Chromatic Star is fine. So, for the sake of mana efficiency, I am probably always just doing this. Assume that I always just do this. Do I want to stomp my opponent's face? I think I just want to put a Mog Fanatic in play. Not the most mana efficient play that I have, but it's the play that presents the most damage with Goblin Bushwhacker next turn, which I think is what I care about. Because there's a lot of worlds where I need to just, like, stomp a Stoneforge here, and in not those worlds, I just want to play Bushwhacker and get in. Sort of the meek, sure. I am going to go ahead and cash this in this turn while the board is still 100% clear. This is a lot of damage. I can get greedier with it and try to play double Mog Fanatic that turn. I don't know that that's right, though. Oh, great. The Thopter Foundry Sword of the Meek is just assembled already. I have a lot of damage that I can just chuck at my opponent. I can't really stop this combo here. I don't have a Smash to blow up the Thopter Foundry. Goes up to 10. Opponent blocks a 2/2. They take 3 damage. I can turn it into 4. I don't have opponent quite dead this turn. I'm gonna play some Mog Fanatics out. So let's go ahead and send in all of these. My opponent will make their Thopter. So that I get in damage this turn, I will junk one of these Mog Fanatics because it's worth 1 damage and a creature off board. My opponent goes to 5. Unfortunately, the red zone looks pretty bad from here. That also looks pretty bad. Yep. Here goes the Thopter Foundry shenanigans. They're just junking the Chromatic Star so they can immediately get their card out of it. And they're going to go ahead and do this while things like Skullcrack are down. Do not blame them. One last time. Do I want to junk this creature? No, probably not. Draw Lightning Bolt. I have 9 direct damage, so I don't want to do that. That works. That absolutely works. Goblin Grenade. Junking a Bushwhacker. Puts him to 4. Puts them to 1. Lets me Mog Fanatic to kill them. Alright, that was a lucky top deck there. On the draw, do I want Skullcrack or Tormod's Crypt? Tormod's Crypt is a very, very, very bad draw in every instance where my opponent does not have the Thopter Sword combo. Like, it just does not work on getting my opponent dead. Skullcrack's okay. The life gain being able to be split across multiple turns, though, is kind of rough. Am I supposed to just play a 2-of to fight this deck in my deck with no manipulation, or am I just supposed to say, like, if you have it, you have it? I think I'm supposed to say if you have it, you have it. I think I want the Skullcrack, though, on the draw. I don't know if I'm supposed to cut another 1-drop here. I'm maybe supposed to cut, like, 1 Bushwhacker effect of some kind. I have a hand with a smash. This will be a keep. Like, pretty much no matter what. Like, smash allows me to answer the thing that is going to gain my opponent life and otherwise put me into a bad situation. I'll start getting in the red zone immediately with Goblin Guide. Stoneforge on top. It's less of a problem if I have a Smash to Smithereens. Like, I haven't seen a Caldera yet. Like, that's a thing that I could have to worry about. We'll find out real quickly, I guess. Oh, wow, just playing a Talisman this turn. Yeah, Portable Hole's real good here. What am I doing with my turn? Sure, Sentinel's a little more annoying with this hand. I don't think I'm going to end up smashing that Portable Hole. I think since I'm probably going to want to use Bone Crusher to answer Stoneforge Mystic, I'm just going to play out 2 creatures this turn. Let's go like, yeah. Just ping this creature out of the way. Get in for 1. This means that I don't have a nice setup for this creature yet, though, which I don't love. I'm just trying to keep the red zone clear. All right, there is the Stoneforge. Finding Shadow Spear, absolutely. Slightly awkward. I'm okay with how things stand now. Just go ahead and stomp this out of the way and take my 1 damage. Don't think I'm going to just immediately Goblin Guide and chuck that at my opponent. Reality Chip is fine. That equip is fine. So now I think I'm good with smash this life gain card, surge this, get 2 points of damage in here, and the plan is just get to the point where I deal 3 more points of damage with my creatures so that I can Goblin Grenade for the win. Ooh. One is doing something that is not creating a construct. Okay, it is a Stoneforge. Is there more than 1 Shadow Spear? Nettle Cyst. Nettle Cyst is not a problem. Sword of the Meek is currently not a problem. Thopter Foundry could make it into a problem. Don't have a good attack this turn. We'll just be playing out Bone Crusher Giant. Next turn, I can maybe get in enough damage for a kill. It's going to be sketch, though. Opponent's floating mana. Aether Spellbomb. Spell or ability? Oh, it is a spell. Okay, there is the Nettle Cyst. Fine. So I'm just looking to draw more direct damage. That's certainly something. If I attack with 4 creatures, it's only 1 point of damage currently. Maybe I'm not supposed to play that out for Surge, actually. Alright. May have been a mistake. I don't know. Like, playing it out so I can block with Nettle Cyst and then just throw this 1 point of damage at my opponent seems reasonable. Aether Spellbomb is just drawing a card. Yeah, I guess my opponent doesn't want to bounce my Bone Crusher Giant, right? Because that puts them dead to Goblin Grenade. Alright. Protection from red. Reasonable. Chromatic Star is fine. This is fine. I'm fine with blocking. What happens if I draw a Bushwhacker? I draw a Bushwhacker, and this is gone. I get in for 2 points of damage.
and kill my opponent. That's not true exactly, depending on how blocks are done. Could get weird. Go ahead and take this hit and keep this in play just to give myself more options. Like, I think I can take the first one pretty safely. 5, 6, 7, not relying on combat damage at all. Seems good. Goblin Grenade. Target you. Attacking this. Dunking that. Sending this point of damage at my opponent. Okay. We get some play points back. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Medium minus. I'm really disappointed that not once in this league did I tick Flame of Keld up to 3. There may be a reason why we never saw this, or why when I searched for deck lists with this card, like 1 existed in the past 2 years or something like that. This card's too slow for Modern. And that has been my experience with most of the decks that I have, most of the brews that I have played in Modern. Modern is so brutally fast. With Murktide Regent decks, Hammer Time decks, these Cascade decks, would be it Living End or Rhinos. Like, the format is just so fast, you don't get time to just fuck around and play with your brew. And I have been considering, like, not playing Modern leagues anymore and just trying, like, some Modern 2-person queues or playing some matches in the tournament practice room, just because, like, I don't have time to do my thing when I record Modern videos. And I found that very disappointing. Like, in Legacy, like, even if you're losing, it's you still take a while to die, and, like, you get some semblance of a game. But in Modern, it's just like, all right, turn 3, 5/5 Murktide Regent, go. Turn 2 Rhinos, go. I haven't been very happy with the Modern gameplay playing brews. As far as the specifics of this deck list, it felt fine. I'm not overly happy with Flame of Keld in particular. Like, I kept it in the deck in some of the grindier matchups because I wanted that draw 2 effect. 4 is definitely too many. I would be comfortable playing like 2, maybe, which was what the original version of this deck was doing. But even playing 4, like, not once did I tick this up to 3. As far as the sideboard goes, like, my options are okay. Cascade Rhinos matchup felt bad enough that I might want Chalices for the sideboard. Like, I don't know if I'm winning that matchup anyway. Just, like, decks with Fury seem rough. Just, like, Fury being able to potentially 4-for-1 me is horrifying. Like, a pitch removal spell that can take out multiple small red creatures is, like, very much not where I want to be. So I feel like the power level of my deck was lower than just, like, the power level deck of a regular burn deck. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I would maybe readdress the sideboard, go down to 2 Flame of Kelds, find 2 more 1-drops that I could play or something like that. Deck was reasonable. Like, we played okay games of Magic, but it definitely felt like I was on the lower end of the power level scale most of the time in my matches. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button. Leave me a comment if you have any thoughts about the deck list in particular, and have a great rest of the day. See ya!